Hello and welcome. We are here to discuss the Mindfulness at Work program, which its new name is MMI Mindful. It's a program that we have perfectly designed to help you bring mindfulness into the workplace. And I co-founded the program with Laurel Geise, who's here. She's the partner of the program, and we're the master trainers. And we're talking today to people who are interested in finding out about mindfulness in the workplace and what kind of curriculum we would be teaching you to teach. And so, Laura, I'd love to turn it over to you because we have an interesting story about how we met each other, and I'd love for you to tell it if you want to.
I would love to. Hey, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I just love, okay, I'm just going to say it. I really love Zoom because I really love seeing everyone during this time where we're all safer at home. And actually, you know, Sarah and I, we just completed a three-day intensive via Zoom. And it was really a spectacular experience. I really enjoyed it very much. So that was an experiment. But I met Sarah, let's see. So I met Sarah 25 years ago. Oh my goodness. When I was at the Chopra Center for Wellbeing, learning how to meditate. And when I learned how to meditate, Sarah actually gave me my mantra. So that's how we met. And so Sarah holds a really special place in my heart because, as you all know, when you receive your mantra from someone, that's just a life-changing experience. And it was from then, when I learned how to meditate, that I decided to become a meditation teacher. So I've been teaching meditation for 25 years. And my background is in teaching meditation and in corporate America, where I spent 30 years working with large organizations, Fortune 500s. I worked at M&T Bank out of New York. I worked at Fifth Third Bank out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I worked at a company called First American and also a company called CoreLogic. And we actually worked with some of the largest banks in the world. So my clients were Wells Fargo and Bank of America and Chase. So 30 years of this, and I decided it was time to step away and allow those two paths of my life to converge, which was mindfulness and meditation and all the corporate experience that I had. Because I did hold C-level positions. I was a chief compliance officer and a chief information security officer. So I was managing teams around the world. And so when I stepped away into something new, it was mindfulness at work. And this was in, it was 2013 is when I made that leap. And I decided that that is where my path was taking me. I really wanted to bring mindfulness into organizations, and it was just starting to be talked about a little bit. I was kind of early in the curve, but I designed programs, went into organizations, helped to train people, and I just knew I had found I was living my life's calling. I was literally living it. So several years ago, I took a trip to Sedona. And I saw Sarah at her beautiful McLean Meditation Institute in Sedona. And she asked me what I had been up to. And I told her, you know, that I was bringing mindfulness into work. And she said, you know, maybe this is something that, you know, my community would be interested in. Maybe this is something that we could work on together. So we made the decision to jump in and develop a program together. And that's what we did. So I brought my background and the programs I had developed and integrated those with the programs that Sarah had. And I think, Sarah, I mean, you've been teaching since, is it 2009? Is that correct? Gotta unmute you.
Yes, how's that? I've been teaching meditation since 1993. And of course, I've worked for a variety of contemplative figures, kind of new thought leaders, but I started my own meditation teacher training in 2006. And I went from there to just bringing it not only just to individuals, I started bringing it to groups of people, then ultimately to nonprofits, then to corporations. And I basically converted some of the content that I was using, which is more spiritually based, to a more secular based practices of mindfulness and awareness and even emotional intelligence long before a lot of people are doing some of these things like Google Search Inside Yourself or MBSR. They've been around longer than we have. But in terms of some of the content we have, we were really, I'd say, pretty new to the marketplace, first to the marketplace. And eventually what ended up happening is when Laurel came, that was probably about 4 years ago, I would say. I have all these beautiful, amazing teachers that I've trained, over 350 of them, and they're out doing their own thing. Some of them are speaking in public, writing books, teaching in their organizations that they work in, or going to nonprofits nearby. And, you know, they were doing what I did, adapting the material that I taught them to be more secular and more appropriate for the workplace, and how to reduce stress and create resilience and be healthier and to be a better communicator. And so what ended up happening when Laurel came is I realized, you know, I had never really worked for a big company. I'd worked for thought leaders, and that's a different environment working for, and this is where you come in, Carol. I was working for Deepak Chopra for many years. I worked for the TM organization for many years. I worked for Gary Zukav for a couple of years, and Carol was working with me in that office up in Mount Shasta, but it was like a mom and pop shop, really. And there are a lot of us that in the sort of the thought leader arena that's really just figuring out how to move forward, since we are sort of pioneering with them. So I knew that Laurel had this, you know, really deep corporate experience, and yet I'd had this really deep training experience in front of for meditation and mindfulness. And I had been doing it. I've been hired by so many great companies and I'm just winging kind of the content. And then when she came, I thought, you know what, it's time to make this world-class training. And we really explored things, concepts such as productivity or efficiency, well-being and burnout, presenteeism and resiliency, emotional intelligence, and gosh, just mindful listening, all kinds of amazing practices. We've incorporated creativity and innovation, and really have taken, I'd have to say, some of the best training from what I already know, what Laurel already knew, and some of the great training that's already out there. And we've developed a program that's a 6-module program that can turn into 8 modules that are, it's almost like turnkey. When you come to the training, we teach you how to teach these various modules along the lines of what I shared with you. And I actually can share my screen, and I will in a minute. But what I'm really interested in is who you are and why you're here and what you are thinking about. I know that many of us are upgrading our lives during this big pause button. I know many of us are really refining our lives and really saying, now what can really work for me? And so I'd love to hear, maybe you're just curious and maybe you just want to say hi, and that's totally fine too. I'd love to hear what's going on. I know, Janine, you and I have actually talked about this program, and so this is a good time for you to actually connect probably with Laurel, because I know Janine's in the middle of our teacher training, and was asking, you know, when's the next time that we're getting together, and, you know, when's a good time to apply for the program. So Janine, would you like to just introduce yourself? I can unmute you here, I think. Maybe not. Maybe you have to do it.
Okay. So my name's Janine. I live in Denver. I'm originally from New York, and we moved here about 5 years ago. I was an elementary school teacher for 14 years, and I have 2 young daughters, 9 and 6. And I was attracted to meditation, I think, just originally, and to Sarah's program originally, because there were just a few kind of, you know, things that were happening in life that it just seemed to make sense. I think as a parent, I appreciated it, seeing, like drawing upon my experience in the classroom and seeing what children go through, seeing what my own kids were going through, and just wanting to learn more about it. I had a friend who was diagnosed with breast cancer at the time, and thinking, like, when people don't have control over their lives, this is like something that can be so helpful to just, you know, have a great tool. And oddly enough, She's doing wonderful, but oddly enough, since I have now gone further in this program, the one person that I'm working with consistently is another breast cancer person. So it's kind of interesting how, like, that was something that at the time I was interested in, and now here it is. But my husband works a lot, and he's in a corporate setting, and I see how much I think that he would benefit from it, and people like him, and how it's such an important part of our life. But I'm not quite sure why I love this program is because I do feel like I've gotten so much great like spirituality out of the first program, but now I'm like, how do some of the things that I've then tried to do with him, I could tell it's just, you need to make it in a way that other people can digest it depending on who they are. So I really am now drawn to the corporate setting. But I feel like I'll just have all of these tools, and then I'll see where I'm needed and who comes to me.
That's right. And it's interesting because, we say mindfulness at work, but when you think about it, it's really mindfulness in organizations. So it can be the corporate environment, but it can also be working with first responders and working in healthcare and nonprofits and education. And we've had science within, NASA, and, we've had so many different people come into the program from so many different backgrounds. And it's interesting because sometimes people come in with a specific passion for, like, I'm going to bring this into education. One of our newest graduates is actually in higher education. So she's keen to, like, get out there and work with college students. I mean, that's like her path, right? So it's interesting when we take that step and we start, we learn the training, and as Sarah said, we put a lot of time and effort and invested everything that we have to build a program so that it's turnkey for you. And it's a secular program, just like you said, Janine. It's you have to meet them where they are, right? We have to meet people where they are, and we've architected this program and this training so that it allows you to do that. No matter what type of organizational structure you find yourself working with, this training will apply. And the other thing that's really great is that it is customizable. So as you work with your different clients, you can actually align it with what their needs are and what their benefits are. So, thank you for sharing. And you're in Denver. That's awesome.
Nice.
So what we noticed is so many people say that work, and maybe your husband would agree, is the number one source of stress in their lives, but yet and especially now, right? With the total reorg and the confusion about if they're going to still have a job, and that insecurity too can cause some problems, along with people that maybe are not so emotionally intelligent that we work with, or maybe just the too much to do, not enough time to do it, or maximizing multitasking and things like that are really not prudent or efficient. And taking just a fresh look at the ways in which people basically do their day, do their meetings, do their to-do lists. And what I also noticed is that, like Laurel was saying, when I get in front of a healthcare organization, which I've done, or a manufacturing home builder, sometimes they just want a little bit. Sometimes they just want to up their well-being and mental health. Other times they want to upgrade their productivity, and others, I had one recently, was a whole association of women business owners wanted to work on creativity. So these modules are separated like that. They can go from an hour to an hour and a half. But what also is fun is a lot of us are getting out and feeling confident to be public speakers in front of, organizations or associations. I've led programs for the Arizona Association of Accountants. You can imagine what kind of group that was, as well as the Arizona Bar Association. And, the accountants are sitting there the whole time looking down at their paper with their arms crossed. And I thought, oh my gosh, here we go. But they loved it after a while. So you have to learn that, having the faith in the content and the direct experience that you share with them is so important. And what I'm also noticing is that HR and some of these newer tech companies are coming to us because they're looking for ways to attract, well, I don't know what's going on today, but they're looking for ways to attract really, really good talent. And not the millennials up until this point were willing to kind of go where the shiniest objects were. I don't know if you heard that or noticed it, but their sense of loyalty for some wasn't necessarily as ingrained as maybe some other generations. So what they're doing is continually trying to make the workplace really attractive and show the care that they have for the workers and for the employees. And so they're finding like mindfulness rooms are replacing like foosball tables and, beanbag chairs, and really getting people to have a more sustainable relationship with their job and their workplace, and to create a longer lasting one, because the cost of hiring people, or the cost of what is called presenteeism, where people are actually physically at their desk, but they're busy mentally somewhere else. The cost of those, on some companies can be millions and millions of dollars. Anyway, I wanted to invite Carol. Would you like to say hi and tell us what you're doing and why you're on the call?
Sure. Am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Great. So, so great to see you, I just have to say. So yeah, it's been 20 years. That's how long ago it was. So yeah, great time in some ways. Yeah, crazy time. So I was just scrolling through Facebook and saw this, and it caught my eye because so I've been doing life coaching for, I don't know, like 19 years or something like that. And I was a massage therapist for 18 years prior to that. So I've been doing healing work for a long time and incorporating mindfulness into all my work, and more so in the coaching probably. And people are always saying to me, you should make some tapes of yours. You have such a calming voice. You have, this kind of thing. And so I've made individual ones for people for mindfulness. And then this last fall, I got a call from a principal from a high school here locally. It's a small, very, very small high school for kids who have had a lot of trauma in their lives. And so the teachers have secondary trauma, working with the kids who have trauma, and they have their own trauma as well. And so he brought me in. He's done meditation for like 25 years, since he was about 20. And he said, I heard great things about you and wanted to know if you wanted to teach mindfulness to my staff. And I had to keep it very secular, as you're saying, and my background is more spiritual. So I had to really think about, I said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. I'd never done that in a group ongoing. I'd done it at workshops for 20 minutes, but never an ongoing program. So I did it. It was going great. He thought I was awesome. People could come and go as they wanted. It wasn't mandatory. And then I did 4 sessions, and then this whole thing happened and schools closed and everything shut down. So I didn't get to carry on, but I was loving it. It was like, oh, this would be a cool thing to add to what I'm already doing. I need to build my practice more anyway. And I thought, oh, I love doing this, and it's so good for me while I'm doing it, because most of the time my eyes are closed while their eyes are closed, and I get the benefit of it as well. So when I saw this, I thought, I want to check this out. I live in a very small rural town. It's not corporate up here at all, but I loved what you said about nonprofits and organizations and that kind of thing. And I'd love to be able to support them. And it's a small community where we know each other a lot. So there would be that personal touch to it that I think could be really beneficial. So anyway.
What you're doing. I knew you as a massage therapist, and also my right-hand gal there in Mount Shasta. I mean, gosh, we had quite the time working there. But I love, I found I like to work with the nonprofit boards. I mean, they are under so much stress, and I love to work with humane societies and animal rescue groups and environmental groups. And it is word of mouth too. It becomes all about, well, we need mindfulness. Who's the mindfulness person? Oh, it's Sarah, or, in your case, it'd be Carol. And that's always helpful to work in this way and allow your friends to know about you, because everybody, or let's just put it this way, a lot of people work somewhere. And so even though you might be right now just coaching individuals, they start to know that you are a mindfulness teacher, and then they start to think about how they can bring you into your workplace. And so quite often it's that kind of transition that works for a lot of our teachers. It's great. It's good to see you. Are you in a yurt?
I am in a yurt.
Oh, lucky you. Lucky you.
Yeah, it's a really cool space.
Yeah.
You have to
Well,
come visit sometime.
I will. I know. I just moved 5 times in the last year and a half. So now I'm sitting here so happy. We have a beautiful meditation studio here in Montecito, and I get to sit here and look out at the ocean, and I'm finally, I think, in the place. It felt like, well, I don't know about you all, but with this virus, it felt like musical chairs. A lot of people were, moving around, and I think a lot of people were going so fast, trying to catch up, and almost like the foot was on the gas and the brake at the same time. And I feel like this is a great big pause button that's allowed people to examine their lives, do they want to go back to the same thing? I'm finding people are really interested in becoming meditation teachers, as well as interested in bringing mindfulness into their workplace. If and when that resumes back to normal, we're all having hopeful thoughts about that. But Ashley, let's hear from you, if you don't mind saying hello and sharing what brought you here today. Wait a minute, I'll unmute you. Let's see if I can. There we go.
Oh, okay. I was saying I met Laurel at Wisdom 2.0. Hi, Laurel.
Hi, good to see you again.
Good to see you. And I have been, well, first of all, I am a financial advisor. So that's my day job. And I work exclusively with federal agencies and federal employees for retirement planning. But I dropped out of corporate, I think it was back in 2013 and 2014, and I did a 2-year hiatus where I did nothing but yoga and meditate. So I had met a spiritual teacher who I'm still connected with, and I just said, I'm done with everything. I want off grid. I want off this merry-go-round, and never with any intention to ever go back. I was done. And I went on this really, really deep, mystical, spiritual journey and resurrected myself from meditation. I mean, everything in my life completely changed. And then it was time to go back because I needed money. And so I went back to finance. And I really am hoping to find the next step for me, because I do teach meditation on the weekends. I've been teaching meditation for a couple of years. And so I want to be able to bring this into my work environment, but I also am hoping that this is, and know deep down that this is my life's purpose, not to teach spirituality to spiritual seekers, but to teach these fundamental principles to enliven and awaken the spirit within the individual who feels trapped within corporate America. And I know what that feels like because that was me. And quite frankly, I have moments in my everyday life where I feel the same way. I'm trapped again. How did I let this happen again? But anyways, I just see the desperate need on people's faces to know who they are and to feel like they have purpose and to feel like they can bring their spirit and their greater being into their working lives. And I just feel a little bit stuck, not only because of the shutdown and the quarantine, but, I have this mystical, spiritual information, and then I have this working experience. How do I marry the two? And it was my intention, I told Laurel, to create my own program because I sponsored myself to go to Search Inside Yourself, and I have all and I know how they did it. I know how they took the juiciness, I call it, out of the spiritual experience to keep it very secular, very basic. But I don't have enough time, really, to be able to take care of myself, to take care of all my responsibilities, and to build this program. And I'm getting really anxious to step forward and to start teaching it. So, and I'm searching for a certification program. So when I met Laurel, I was really impressed because for the first time I met somebody who knew what it was like to step into that boardroom with a bunch of corporate people who don't have spiritual practices, who actually think you're crazy if you do, and they don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So to know that resistance that you're up against, and to have you as somebody to walk us through this, who's been there, really intrigued me, because most of the other programs on mindfulness certification, it doesn't seem like it's focused on the work environment.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm still trying to decide, but I'm looking for a community of people to support me in this, and I know deep down that this is what I'm meant to do, and eventually I'm going to step away from being a financial advisor and be a full-time consultant in this manner. Or that's my dream, my hope, my goal. So
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing. It's amazing that you've got a very similar, I wanted Laurel to share her mission statement with you, but your mission statement sounds like a little bit of like mine. I want to help everybody, not the woo-woo people. Even though people consider me sort of on the spiritual side, I am personally, and you can be personally spiritual and have your own spiritual trajectory, but you can show up and meet people where they are. And my mission is to help people wake up to the wonder and beauty of their lives through mindfulness and meditation. And I wanted Laurel to share her mission statement, because it's exactly what I think you're thinking about.
Yeah. Well, it's great to see you again, Ashley. And we had a really nice conversation in San Francisco before we headed home. And who knew we were going to be home? Like, since literally, I haven't left the house since I got back on March 8th, you know? But so I was meditating one day, as I tend to do. And during that meditation, the messaging that I received, the guidance that I received, it was so deep in my soul. You know, it was like, because I had left the corporate environment. Here's the situation, and I know you can relate. I had left the corporate environment, and I was like, I'm not going back. There's no way they can pay me enough money to go back. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Ha ha ha. Right. So all this is happening with mindfulness at work, and I'm kind of seeing it, and I'm like, I can do this. And, you know, I spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours putting together a program that would really connect with, you know, those leaders where they were, you know, and so I was meditating, and I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And I got two answers. The first one was to grow. And I was like, okay, all right, I get it. But the second was to end human suffering at work. And it was, felt very Buddhist to me. But that was it, you know, because during those 30 years, I mean, I had seen people have heart attacks. I had seen people have strokes. I had seen people with cancer. I had seen the worst, I think some of the worst side of humanity, really, the bullying, the shaming, the blaming, just all of it. You know, after 30 years, I couldn't go back. But I can tell you, it has been the most rewarding work of my life to actually go into an organization, and any organization I've been in, be it corporate, nonprofit, you know, startup, Fortune 50. When you come into that organization and people know that you're there to share mindfulness at work with them, I mean, you will get hugs and so much loving before you even say a word. You know, I remember I was out in Silicon Valley at this company, and I mean, I walked into the room and I was just swarmed, and they were like, we're so happy you're here. We can't believe this is the greatest thing. You know, we have people, they're sick, strokes. I mean, it was just people are starved for this. They're starved for this. And yeah, it's not going to be everyone in the organization in the beginning, but there's a big enough movement out there right now. And I think especially now that we have all had this, stay at home, and everyone's just, the stress is off the charts. And as Sarah alluded to, I mean, economic uncertainty, we're not sure. And I remember during the last downturn in 2008, I went into that with one job and I came out with 4. I had 4 jobs. I was in corporate compliance, and then they said, you know what, you could be the chief information security officer too. And you know what? We need someone to run enterprise risk management, and we need someone to run business continuity. So that's what happens when we go through these times like this. I think there will be a contraction, and there will be people who will be out of work, and the people who are at work are going to be even more stressed than they were before. That was my experience. So I'm glad you joined us, Ashley. And as you can tell, I get very passionate about mindfulness at work. And again, I have been so inspired. So Sarah has built a tremendous community. She has over 350 meditation teachers. So this incredible global community. And, we started this training. We just graduated team 5. So we're moving into team 6 now. So we're in our 3rd year of this program, and we've already certified 50 trainers. And I have to say that, the interest just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I know it's because, those of us that came from the corporate environment totally understand it, but there's more than just corporate. There's schools, and there's first responders, and there's nonprofits. And so the inspiration for me is to see each trainee come into the program and start to share their experience, and then everyone starts to support each other. Like we have a woman in New York and a woman in Florida, and they're both in real estate, and they're starting to work together. And then we have 2 people in Quebec, and they're starting to work together, and they're presenting at women's conferences. And it's just, you just start to see all these connections. And Ashley, are you in Denver?
Yes, I am.
That's what I thought. And
Isn't Janine in Denver?
Janine's in Denver?
Yeah. Hey.
Ta-da! Okay, so the community grows, right? The community grows. So we always have ongoing community support calls. We have, the Facebook community. So we have a trainee community, and then when you're certified, you get into the trainer community, and everyone's there to support you. We're all there to help you succeed in any way that we can possibly support you. And I think that's one of the main differences of our program. I think, Ashley, I had talked to you about meeting Sarah because we had a really lovely conversation, but I wanted you to be able to talk to Sarah a little bit and get to know her too, because we were both passionate, but we come from kind of different backgrounds, right? But it's interesting when we put together our experience and our skills, I think what we've created is pretty special. Oh, Sarah.
Speak to what you were saying about putting your program together, Ashley, because I had to do that. I mean, it's like you get called to do this or this group or this person, like for instance, Janine's starting to teach breast cancer, people dealing with that. I mean, you start getting called to these various organizations and people, and you have to kind of make up the curriculum specifically for that group, customize it. And we have spent, I'm not kidding you, hours and hours and hours, and we have had teams and teams of people helping us with these various modules, and then trying to take the best and then condense it, so that you can present something that's worthwhile in an hour. I mean, that's might be what they give you. So I can tell that it takes for a really long time to develop this, and we've been working on it and upgrading it since we started. And we just finished our final, I'm not gonna say final, we finished a large upgrade to our branding and to the PowerPoints. They are just amazing. I think they're beautiful. You're gonna feel proud of the curriculum you present. But in terms of training, we really use evidence-based training. So we look at case studies of various organizations that have adopted mindfulness, that have adopted, the practices and what it's meant to their bottom line or their employee retention or their well-being and throughout the entire organization. So we look at research studies that are based on, scientists studying particular markers in the physiology, but we're also looking at case studies which, take a look at organization-wide benefits. And then we also, we pay attention to the anecdotal evidence, which not everybody's having a case study, not everybody's having researchers come in, but we're hearing, from people who run companies, how it's affected their lives and their employees' lives and their business bottom line. But what's also fun is walking into an organization, like Laurel says, when they see you in their twinkle in their eye and they're so excited. And I noticed that too. I am working with manufacturers, it's mainly male dominated in that particular arena. And, there'll be that closet meditator who sees you walk in the room and they are so excited that everybody else in the space is going to be getting on board with them. And, they're willing to finally kind of come out of the closet of who they are. And so we're looking not only to train teams or employees or however you want to do it, but we're also looking to get in there and help them to establish a sustainable program throughout their organization. And so that's a different deliverable, really. I mean, you've got the training, and then you've got your ability to go in there and sort of consult to create a deliverable. So, there are a lot of opportunities here, depending on how open the person who hires you is. And sometimes that person is your champion within the organization. It may not even be going through HR. It may be that you have been coaching someone that found out what a great presenter you are or really got some benefit from what you've been teaching them. And they mention it to someone, and it could be the CEO or manager of a team. And so it's not, I wish I could say it's a real predictable way that you get hired. I mean, we do offer some ideas and offer you all the materials for how to write proposals, write contracts, get the job, do this, I hate to say the word sales pitch, but, I persuade people to adopt the mindfulness training. And, but it's not linear. None of this is linear. Think about the ways you've gotten your clients. Think about the ways that you've gotten your jobs. And it's like that. It's very organic. And so it's a really kind of fun and surprising, and it will bring out the best in you. And if you don't already know this, teaching mindfulness and meditation is its own spiritual practice, regardless of whether you're in a corporate setting or you're one-on-one with someone dealing with a cancer diagnosis. It's a really interesting spiritual practice. Yes.
And I would say, that, we know that our spiritual curriculum is right in front of us, right? We know that whatever we have to learn and whatever we need to grow is going to be right in front of us. So I found there's a lot of synchronicity that comes into this too, as to who you connect with and who you begin training. And I was thinking about Carol, because one of our trainers, she does some life coaching too. And then that life coach had, was maybe like a VP level in organization. And she started talking about mindfulness, and now they hired their trainer to come in to teach the mindfulness and do one-on-one coaching with the students. And then they're going to move into mindful leadership training. So, there it is again, you've got these tools in your toolkit, and people are going to want to leverage those tools for their own personal growth and for the growth of the organization too.
I just want to say hello to Ben, because Ben, we don't see his face, but we see he works for Chalk Cliffs Wellness, and Ben went through our teacher training program. It's been a while. Hi, Ben. It's good to see you. And I know he's been out there teaching away and having a lot of success. I'd love to hear how you're doing. And I'm sorry you joined the call late, but we are recording it, so hopefully you'll get a chance to listen to some of it. But would you like to say hello?
Yeah, hello everybody. I am an alum of, was it 2017, March of 17? So I'm now working at Arapahoe Community College and currently pitching our student affairs office to offer mindfulness one-on-one sessions for our students.
Is Ben frozen? Oops,
Oh.
we lost him.
Well,
Yeah,
hopefully he'll come back.
he is, yeah, he is dynamic. I don't know where he is actually based out of, but yeah, this is, I was going to say, we have people that are embedded in companies already
Yes,
that
we
have
do.
been bringing mindfulness into their company and are seeking additional training. We've had people join their training who've already been through MBSR, who've already been through SIY, Search Inside Yourself, and have come here because of the, I don't know, I guess it's a little, I don't know why you would say they would come. Maybe you remember, Laura, more specifically.
Well, I think that, out of all the people that I've talked to, and I talked to quite a few when we go to conferences, so Wisdom 2.0 and the Mindful Leadership Conference in Washington, D.C., and other events, most of what I find is that people resonate. Here's my approach. I feel that people will resonate with the program that is the right program for them, right? I mean, it's all about, what do you feel in your heart? What's that feeling that you have when you're talking with us and when you're, feeling into being a part of this community? And I find that, with our training, number one, it is the turnkey approach. I think that's important so that, you can go out and start training right away. And it's also the whole entrepreneurial side that we address. So we do spend a lot of time on the entrepreneurial because, you as a meditation teacher, as a mindfulness at work trainer, you are an entrepreneur. We want to go out there and build our tool set. And so we take you through the whole process. And Sarah said it, the sales pitch, we'll take you there. We're going to talk about lunch and learns. We're going to talk about, how you do the sales presentation. And we have, all of the new collateral material. We're actually, we have a team right now. We're working on writing white papers for our website that we can all share with prospective clients on our new website, MMI Mindful.
Right.
We also, we have the contract for you. We talk, with Sarah, we have, someone who's very well versed in media, with television and radio and articles and how to get your name out there. She is a celebrity. She knows how to work in the press. You do, Sarah.
Well, I do know how to work in the press, but I don't know if I'm a celebrity. I'm just trying to.
I think you are. And, and what I have, what I've seen is that people, they're looking for that support. And the third thing that I think makes a difference is, the training is fantastic. And what an organization needs is a sustainable program, like Sarah said. And what we've seen from business case after business case is that the organizations where the culture changes because of the mindfulness training is the cultures where they actually set up and institute a mindfulness program. And that's another opportunity for you to continue your relationship with that company, because you can help them to set up their mindful zones. You can help them to lead their daily mindfulness sessions until you train some mindfulness mentors. You can help to bring in guest speakers. You can go back in and do a quarterly refresh. There's so many things that you can give them, give them content for their newsletters. There's so much that you can do. But that, I think, is a big difference, is we really support you as you go forward to say, yes, we're going to do this training and we're going to help you to set up that sustainable program so that we do see the change in the organization. And I think that's, that to me is one of the biggest differences. And as I shared, for me, it's all about the heart. It's what do you feel? And if it's there in front of you in the path and it feels right, then take that step. And it looks like Ben might be coming back.
I think his internet was unstable, but I wanted to just say, I wanted to ask if anyone had any questions, only because in about 13 minutes, as I've been doing every single day, I lead a live meditation. You're all welcome to join it. But I lead a live meditation to a whole group of people that are alone together on our Zoom call
Be
here.
alone together, yeah. Well, I had a couple of just points to share. So our training, as you know, is offered twice a year, and I think that's important to know. So we're actually enrolling for Team 6. Now, our last intensive that was to be in Santa Barbara in April, we actually did that online, and it worked really well. It's our intention. We're focused on being in Santa Barbara on October 10th. So it's 10/10 to 10/12 for the intensive. We're just going to put a little asterisk next to that because, you know, it depends on if the universities are open, and it depends upon if we can actually be at UC Santa Barbara. And we know that people there's a lot of change going on right now. And originally we were going to start our training in June, and we decided that we're going to actually start the training on August the 5th. And why we're doing that is to give people some time to just move through this environment that we're in right now, and know that if we start on April 5th, we'll still be able to have the intensive on October the 10th.
August 5th. I know Carol had a question.
Yeah.
She had her hand up. So
Carol, yes.
Yeah, so considering the fact that we don't know what's going to happen going forward, you know, I had been during this time mulling over other things I could be doing. I work with my clients by phone or by video conferencing as it is now. And I'm wondering going forward, you know, using this training and being able to continue on doing these things online, because we might not be able to so easily be in person, or maybe we're all finding out that this is a great way to connect in ways that we couldn't connect because of location. We can, you know, gather people together in a different way. So I'm wondering what considerations you've had about that.
Well, you know, can I speak to that and just in general? So it's about a 3-month program, as Laurel said, starting August 5th. And we have, gosh, 8 teleconferences, just like this, where we go over the material you'll be studying. We go over every single module, in addition to an entrepreneurial module. And there was one other module we did.
An intro module.
An intro module. So there are 8 modules that we did. And then once you're done with that, that's when we had you come into Santa Barbara. My gut sense is that we're going to continue this online for the fall. And so what it includes is 3 days sitting like this, unless you're sitting in Santa Barbara. And the days are long. You know, what do we start at 9 o'clock with a meditation, and we ended at 4:30 after another meditation. And we had about 45 minutes for lunch. And there are 3 full days of that. And then afterwards, we do 3 coaching teleconferences. And this is open to anybody. So for instance, if you graduated, Janine, and then, you know, another Team 7 came in, you could still sit on the coaching calls and listen to what happens, what you need coaching on, whether it's a particular organization you want to customize the program for, or whether it's a particular proposal you're trying to turn in. And hi to those of you joining us. We are just finishing up a call right here. You're welcome to sit and listen. It's about mindfulness at work training. And what I'll do right now is just go ahead and open the waiting room, but everybody here gets to stay.
So just to summarize what Sarah said, so what's included? So we feel this is about 100 hours of training. It includes the distance learning materials and the 8 Zoom sessions, so just like this. Then we have a 3-day intensive. Then afterwards, we have 3 months of post-intensive coaching specifically to support you as you go out and work with clients. And you can attend forever and ever if you wish. We do have people come back and attend the coaching calls. You get all the turnkey PowerPoint presentations, all the experiential exercises, access to our online resource library, all the entrepreneurial support, so the contracts, all the marketing, collateral, lunch and learn sales, and you get to be you become a part of this larger community to support you. So there's a lot of learning in this, but there's also a lot of interaction. which I find there's a nice balance between the learning and the interaction. And as we go through the pre-intensive distance learning, you will have a study buddy. So you'll have someone that you'll be partnered up with and sharing both exercises as well as resources that you've also researched. So back to Sarah.
I just want to say, Janine and Ben, what I think you'll find interesting, I mean, although we've been through the program becoming more emotionally intelligent, there is a whole module on that. We also take a look at creativity. And though you might be innately creative, how do you create more creativity in the workplace? And then if you need it, problem solving or working with teams. And also we focus on, you know, just in terms of what in addition you might be learning, we focus on productivity, efficiency, the way the brain works at work, to-do lists, digital wellness, aspects of mindfulness and meditation that are maybe new that we haven't studied as part of our Meditation Teacher Academy. So there's new material.
And once you actually become certified, and you become certified when we go through the intensive, so then you become a part of the larger community, and we also add you to the website. So I would encourage you to go to the website and just see the trainers that we have who have joined our team. And you'll have, again, there's a lot of support out there for you stepping forward into this. And as Ashley knows, we promote our trainers at conferences. You know, we promote the certification training and we promote our trainers. So we're always out there promoting you too. And once you start to meet people within the community, I think you'll find that you will find other people who have a similar interest to you, and you can partner with them and offer programs too. So
ask questions.
Yes.
Anyone?
Any other questions? Yeah, Janine.
So is it a similar format to the teacher training that was like you work individually and then you have your study buddy and then you do your teleconference calls?
It's similar in that way, but once we get to the intensive, where the Meditation Teacher Academy intensive, you haven't been to it yet, but it's really, I'd have to say it's like a transformational kind of I don't want to use the word initiation, but I don't know what else to call it. Ben maybe could come up with a word for it, but there's some real meeting of your own mind, a meeting of your own heart, and really stepping into being a teacher. I wouldn't say it's as spiritually transformational at the intensive, but what it gives you is this confidence, because at the intensive, whether it's online or in person, you learn how to actually share the material, and we will give you the PowerPoints, and you'll learn how to kind of share the material as if you were standing up in front of everyone teaching through those PowerPoints if you choose to use them.
Yeah, I think
so
the intensive, I think the intensive, you know, is really focused on making sure that you have the clarity about how you're delivering the mindfulness training, and then the confidence to go forth and train. I think those are two of the areas that we like to focus on, because again, it is turnkey, and we want to make sure you get the right support. So Sarah, I think we only have a couple of more minutes before your alone together meditation starts, which is fantastic. But
there are 7 people in the waiting room. I'm just messaging them that I'll let them in soon.
Okay, but
ends up being 40.
We would love to have you join us in the program. As we said, we're enrolling now for our Team 6, and we're going to actually start the online, the Zoom sessions on August 5th. And Sarah, let me ask this: if someone enrolls before then to get a discounted rate, do they have access to the materials? Can they start looking at the materials in distance learning, so they could enroll sooner and then be more prepared for when we start the pre-intensive Zoom sessions?
Yeah, and I just want to share with Ben and Janine, there is, because you've been through the Teacher Academy, there's an additional reduction in the fee, so we can message separately about that. But people have already been through it.
So Sarah, can people call you to get enrolled?
You can call me or enroll. You can email me. There's an enrollment form on MMImindful.com. that website is designed to be a training company website. So for instance, and I've had a lot of people asking me, where do you work? And I go, MMI Mindful, and they go to that site. And that kind of presents all of us as a team. But if you go to the sub menu, which is on the right, where I think they call it a hamburger, where you've got the three little dashes. If you click there, I'm going to call it a veggie burger. You go down and you'll see the MMI certification or MMI Mindful certification. You'll get the details on the training. But that site is really designed to promote us as a training company, though you are all on your own training. It's really so that we can have a worldwide reach, because we've been in
well, it's I think it's a both and situation, where once you become certified as a trainer, you can go out and train. And we as a community are also looking to provide training to larger organizations. And when we meet with larger organizations, they really want to see that we have a network, that's coast to coast, which we do. And we have trainers in Canada and Europe and Australia. And that's what the larger corporations are looking for. So that was something that we realized over the past couple of years. And that's why we put together MMI Mindful. So you become part of that umbrella organization too. And so, Sarah, can I give them this 805 phone number if they'd like to call you? So to call Sarah, it's 805-770-8188. So again, that's 805-770-8188. And we would love to have you join us. If you have any other questions, please let us know. It's been a pleasure to spend this time with you. I can't believe that it's time for the Alone Together meditation, but it is. And that's one of those part of Sarah's giving back to the world during this time. She's been leading these meditations since probably since March 8th, right? Since we came home from Wisdom 2.0. So
I didn't get to go to Wisdom because I was so sick with the virus.
She was too sick, but
yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. I really hope that we get to see you in our Team 6. It's exciting, and as Sarah said, I mean, we know that you could probably build a lot of this yourself, but we've spent thousands of hours putting it together, and we know that it works, and it's proven system. So think about joining us. We'd love to have you. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Laurel.
Oh,
thank you, all of you,
invitation.
Carol and Janine and Ashley and Ben. And thanks for checking in with us, Peg and Sue.